A big blow because we would not be able to use the blood test.
I would have liked to have seen it all held up, and I would have liked to have at this point in time seen it all done and over with.
Not acceptable. Not acceptable.
Emotional reactions after a judge ruled today the blood test cannot be used to prosecute IMPD officer David Bisards for drunk driving charges. That blood test was the evidence for 6 of the felony charges, but the blood test can be used in a criminal recklessness case against Bisards.
Well, that decision left little doubt. David Bisards won a substantial legal victory today.
And 24-hour News 8's Deanna Dewberry kicks off our team coverage with the developments from the courtroom. And Deanna, I've heard some of the interviews earlier today. It's complicated, so do what you can to walk us through that.
Yeah, it is complicated. Indiana law gives specific direction, though, on how and who can draw the blood in DUI cases. Today, the judge decided the law was not followed in the case of Officer David Bisards. And that means in the DUI charges, the blood alcohol evidence is out. Win or lose, David Bisards' expression rarely changes. But even though his face revealed nothing of what had happened in court, the judge's ruling was clear. Bisards won, and this win is big.
We're very pleased with the ruling today.
Pleased because the judge threw out the blood alcohol test in Bisards' 6 DUI charges. And prosecutors acknowledged that without the blood alcohol test, there is no DUI case.
It is a big blow because we would not be able to use the blood test. And that's the decision that we have to make going forward, is whether we'll pursue an appeal of that issue.
The judge seemed to indicate that the law was clear in this, and something with which you disagree.
We disagree with the judge on that point, yes.
But in his decision, the judge insisted the law clearly indicates the blood draw is inadmissible. Here's why. Police took Bisards to Methodist Occupational Health Center, a clinic, to have his blood drawn. A medical assistant named Michelle Maga drew his blood. But the law states that if the blood is not drawn at a hospital, only certain people can draw the blood: doctors, nurses, EMTs, and paramedics. In his decision, the judge writes, the evidence is clear that Ms. Maga is not an appropriate person to have drawn the blood in this case. Despite their clear victory, Bisards' lawyers say the decision is no cause for celebration.
A lot of people's lives have been affected by this. Regardless of whether or not this is a criminal case, we acknowledge the fact that this was a tragedy for that family and for all the people affected by this.
So what is abundantly clear here is without the blood alcohol test, you cannot make those DUI charges stick. So now the prosecution has the opportunity to file what's called an interlocutory appeal. That is an appeal before the trial. We've got Marion County prosecutor, former Marion County prosecutor Carl Brizzi here to talk about that. So they can file an appeal to try to get this blood alcohol evidence back admitted with DUI charges. Do you think they're going to do that?
They can ask the judge for permission to file the appeal. Judge Hawkins does not have to grant them permission to file the appeal. Then they file the appeal. I don't know. I don't know what the appellate courts will do, but certainly you've had, one prosecutor interpret the law, then the judge interpreted the law the same way. So I would say the chances are, or the odds are against them in prevailing. But what we do know is that if they do file the appeal, if the judge lets them do it, we're talking about almost a year delay.
A year delay.
Could be as long as a year.
And without this, of course, if it doesn't go their way on appeal, they cannot file the DUI charges because the blood alcohol evidence is their key piece of evidence.
That's exactly right. As it stands right now, all of the blood alcohol evidence is out, which is the drunk driving causing fatality, gone. If the appellate court reverses, then they're back in, but again, we won't know that if they do appeal for probably another year.
Very interesting to watch, and thank you so much for being here to analyze it all for us. Back to you guys.